Greetings to everybody. Welcome. Today we are reading from Babaji Maharaj's complete works of Ram Chandra, Volume 6. The topic is about real condition. And we have also been trying to understand the Bhakti Sutras that I have been trying to read little bit, one line a week maybe, and trying to understand the depth in that sutra about what is devotion. In this particular Bhakti Sutra, sage says true devotion is not filled with desires, for it embodies restraint. And we have been trying to understand this concept that has been coming to us, that it is about the matter, which is the earth, energy field, which is the consciousness field, and the causal field, which is the field of the soul. And matter is where desire is, and hatred is the shadow of the desire. And desire is close to this field of the consciousness. So sometimes love is in the field of consciousness, but love, when it is filled with desire, cannot move forward. Only when love bids farewell, lets go of this field of desire, can it transform into true devotion, which is the state of the causal. So this is what the sage is trying to explain to us in these sutras about the world of the matter, the earth. He says the world in essence is desire. And this desire is not in the house or about the spouse or about the wealth. The entire earth plane, the world is in our desire. In this, he makes this statement that our heart is a begging bowl which we carry around to fulfill ourselves. Our heart is the begging bowl which we carry around so we can fulfill ourselves because it feels empty. And this statement reminded me of what revered Daji once said when we asked him a question in Dilse. We sent him a question. And the question was, Daji's famous statement is, attending to urgency with a peaceful heart is known as efficiency. Even in urgent situations, if we are able to attend to it with a peaceful heart, that is called true efficiency. So our question was, so what is the most fundamental quality that one must cultivate to be like the master and his heart? Because that is the state that master is in. Even in urgency, he is able to remain peaceful, balanced, centered. His center doesn't shift. So we asked, what is the one fundamental quality one should cultivate to be like the master and his heart? And Daji's reply was, fulfill lack. Because our heart is always in lack. It is a begging bowl. And it is trying to fulfill itself in the earth plane with this burden of the desire, the pull of the desire. So in desire, the heart is continuously begging, give me this, give me more, give me more. That means we are not complete in ourselves. We are trying to fulfill our lack with the desires of the world. So we are always incomplete because the desires of the world cannot fulfill us. They cannot fill the lack. They cannot complete us. We always feel we need something from outside to make us whole. But when the demand for this desire ceases, where with meditation we are able to awaken ourselves in that silence of our heart and are able to perceive the presence, then the demand of the desires start to cease and the pull of the world ceases. And when that happens, there is no need to leave anything. You don't need to leave your wife, child, home. With one stroke, you are able to renunciate everything. You are able to be in that centered state. You are able to be in that peaceful state. When desire bids farewell and we are at peace in this moment, and the heart is filled with devotion, there is no lack. Then the pull of the world is not on us anymore. So, this Bhakti Sutra states devotion is devoid of desire because it embodies renunciation. So, this renunciation is not leaving the world, leaving the child and the family and the money and everything. It is about leaving the burden of the desire, the pull of the desire on our heart. That is true renunciation. This is what he's saying. Because everybody, in the ancient texts, when they see renunciation, the word in a renunciation, everybody runs away from the practice of meditation because they think that they have to give up things. But the sage actually, in reality, means it is renunciating the root cause, the desire. Because with that, if I want to have more and more, it doesn't fulfill me. That the simple example the master gives: one ice cream, you feel good; two ice creams, yeah, it hits the spot; third, fourth, fifth, you are nauseated because that is desire. You keep wanting it, but it doesn't fulfill you. So the true devotion is not about forcibly giving up desire. It is about reaching a meditative state, dhyanaja chitta, a meditative mind, where desires lose their significance and they fall away on their own. Because the heart is so full and content that there is no room for any demands, only gratitude and love remains. This is where the power of the gratitude comes. Because when gratitude fills the heart, love is leaving the field of the earth. Now it is not being pulled by desire, it is not being shadowed by the desire. That means love is not being shadowed by hatred. It is releasing itself from the earth thing because gratitude is there. And now love, the fluency, the flow of the love is able to move forward into devotion. And that is why the statement that the masters remind us: as soon as we arise and are awake. Because in waking up is the state of renunciation. That means when you wake up, you realize the pull of the desire on your heart and you let go of that and you are moving towards the beloved, the state of the beloved. And so, where does this renunciation happen? Silence. We learned that silence is the space in which one awakens. So, all solution lies in the act of meditation. That is why brilliantly Babuji did not ask us to read all the Bhakti Sutras, he did not ask us to read the Vedas and the Upanishads and everything. He simply gave us a technique and said, sit, close your eyes, and rest in the heart. If over a period of time, as you start to do that, you naturally move into this state of being. But Daji says having that understanding is good. When you have that understanding, now we are more grateful to the master. Before, it's like the rich kids who are given everything, all the riches, and they didn't value the riches. Now, when we truly understand the knowledge and the path that the sages have passed through to arrive at these states, which are being given to us in a split second, really in a split second, the moment transmission flows into us, we are able to arrive at those stages. Now gratitude reigns in the heart because now you realize, wow, look at how hard my parents worked to get this much of comfort of life. And today I have this comfort of life automatically. That state of gratitude. And gratitude can only happen when we realize the value of what is given to us. And who will realize the value of what is given to us? If the diamonds are on the road, an ordinary person walking by may not recognize. For him, it may look like a regular some stones that are shining. But for a goldsmith who can recognize the real diamonds, that is very valuable. So, this is what sadhana does. It makes us that real goldsmith who can recognize what diamonds are being given to us, bestowed to our inner self by the great master through his transmission. So, devotion is devoid of desire and it embodies renunciation, means as soon as the desires are removed from the world, that very desire transforms into a prayer directed towards divine. See, desire is not bad, ego is not bad. Only thing is they change their direction. The desire had the direction of the earth. Now, when the desire is moving its direction towards the absolute, it changes. It is the same energy. And for this, the sage gives a beautiful example. He says, the same hands that held the begging bowl now come together in prayer with gratitude. Isn't that a beautiful statement? I was just in tears when I read that. The same hands that held the begging bowl, that were feeling the lack, now come together in prayer with gratitude. Because now the heart is filled with the prana transmission. So, the day your attachment of the world breaks, a yearning for the divine awakens. That is why even artificially practicing gratitude has many benefits. The day your attachment of the world breaks, a yearning for the divine awakens. And that very yearning, that longing, becomes the velocity to reach the destination. So that is what changing the direction of the desire towards the absolute. That is the singleness of the heart in the beloved that makes you indifferent to the world of desire. The moment the presence of the beloved enters into your heart, now the world doesn't matter to you anymore. You are not, whether you have this or that, you have an ice cream you enjoy. That day it's not available, it doesn't matter to you because you are not in lack. Your heart is filled with the love of the beloved. According to Socrates, Babuji once said that according to Socrates, love is the hunger of human soul for that divine beauty. And Babuji says, love is the inner awakening of reality. So this is how this love, desire, bhakti, all this unfolds in the human beings. In the sense, human beings, in the sense, the true seekers. So let us now understand what Babuji is talking about in this chapter, the real condition. People have long thirsted for the condition of poverty, and it is possible that even many rishis have not tasted its pleasure. A wealthy man has everything while a poor man has nothing. Now, for a person who possesses nothing, what does he have that he can give to others? Suppose it is called nothing, then it is something that is not worth giving. So, Babaji talks in a very high um, way of expressing from his state of being. Sometimes it's difficult to understand. So, in some sense, this is the lack. There was a rich man who gave away his wealth to others. As his poverty increased, he started giving less. When finally he had nothing, he could not give anything. Now, if something were asked of him, what would he possibly give? If you think of me in the same way, then I also have nothing to give. Because his state of being, of that ultimate, is that nothingness, that state of poverty that the masters are talking about, in that ultimate state of being. It is absolute humility, ignorance. You know nothing. You feel you have nothing, but yet you have everything. Right? So that is the state he's talking about. From our state of being, we can't understand. One thing is for sure, however, that even in the crust of nothing, there is something that can be given. Going beyond, even this does not exist. Here, giving and receiving come to an end because you are one with Him. The way to arrive at this condition is very clear. Snatch everything away from the wealthy person so that finally, when he has nothing to give, he will attain the state of poverty. So that is what neti 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 is. Letting go of every desire, letting go of everything, you become poor. That's what Babaji is trying to compare it. However, the question now arises as to whether it would be against the Shastras to snatch away a person's riches and property. If the answer is for him to become oblivious of his wealth while continue to possess it, a further question arises as to whether or not he would truly be poor, as his wealth has remained with him in some way. Moreover, if he were to become oblivious of his wealth, would his awareness of it be revived at a time of need? So it is like the state of Hanuman. He had all the powers, but he wasn't aware of his powers because he was in that state of poverty, of absolute humility, like he knows nothing. His Lord is everything. But when that awareness came for the task given, they arose. The riches were used correctly. So, what is the solution? The only possible solution is for his wealth to be placed at such a location where at the time of need he becomes aware of it. So, the progress, that is what happens to all of us. Sometimes we wonder, I'm in the path for so long, am I really progressing? Except for the signs that you are so peaceful and silent, you don't see all those powers that they're talking about. And you wonder. But when in need, those powers come to you. When you are being utilized for a particular work in nature, people who are in that path of working for nature, they know they have been given the power because they see things at that time. This, the thought now emerges that this wealth would be placed in trust with someone. This is the method at the initial stage. Proceeding onwards, he should consider the wealth held in trust to be his without holding any right over it. It is like what you are is his. You have no right because you have already given it to him. Then it may be said that in spite of his possessing all, he feels that he possesses nothing because you have submitted, you have surrendered. That state of being of Hanuman is state of surrender to him who he considers his master. You feel he owns everything and you own nothing. Suppose we feel that all the inner strengths and achievements we possess, the powers conferred upon us by divine, are his, and we hand over their control and function to him. In other words, we sell them to God. Then we will have not have anything and we will be empty of everything. Now, how to find such a custodian to whom all of this may be entrusted? So, this is where the role of the guide is. He is so far away that people think it is difficult to reach him, the ultimate. And if perchance he is the nearest, then it is akin to the state of the eye that is unable to see itself. So, in some sense, Babaji is talking to those people who are not able to recognize his spiritual state of being. So, then how to find such a trustee? The answer is this: if we can become an eye from head to toe, that means from head to toe we can become an eye, means that complete awareness, we will at least be able to state that we have become nothing but an eye. At least you come to that state of witnesshood, that you are nothing, you are witnessing. You are in that awareness, you are witnessing, you are not judging, you are not reacting. I mean, this is all powerful, very profound statements for even for us to understand. But at least we'll make efforts. Now, the only necessity is for us to search for such a trustee. Now that our entire being has become an I, that means the I he's talking about, it implies that the entire body has the power of the vision. Now, what is left to see when we are nothing but an I and we are left with nothing else? The matter of the eye's inability to see itself has now been nullified. Usually, in the statements that the eye cannot see itself. So, what is it that is seeing the eye? the witnesshood state, something beyond you, due to the removal of the power that enabled us to look at it. The reason is this: in place of the powers in their various forms, only the I remains. Now there is that everywhere from which light is emanating. The eye that had wanted to see itself has now become as one from head to toe. Now the need for the eye to look at itself also does not exist. The crux of the whole matter is this: just as when we become only one eye from top to bottom, those things which made the eye see the eye left us. Similarly, if in place of the eyes, we feel the presence of divine everywhere, so the awareness, if it becomes divine, there will be no need to search for a trustee. The reason is that the total thing that we wanted to hand over to the trustee now appears itself in real form. Now poverty is there, but we want to eliminate both poverty and wealth, because now you are going beyond the Prapanna Prabhu states, where you are crossing that humility, and now you are moving into that state of innocence, a childlike innocence. This can only happen when, instead of becoming an eye from head to toe, we become that real eye which is nothing but divinity. That too should happen in such a natural way that we are not even aware of it. Then both poverty and wealth disappear. In my last letter, I had mentioned my poverty. It is actually my condition. And beyond that, it is the condition of big personalities, and even beyond that of avatars. It would make my heart very happy if you were to reply to this letter. And what can the reply be? We should all note this down. Pray that you also become like that. Nothing is far from that ultimate divinity. He can do everything. When you visited Shah Jahanpur, you had asked me to keep you with me as my servant. I was happy with those words filled with love. My child, the only question is of physical well-being, and it is due to that the process is delayed. Otherwise, it is a matter of a second to develop spiritually in its real form. So, this is where we need to pay attention. What is this physical well being? Because the power should not shatter our nervous system. Our capacity of our nervous system has to increase to be able to receive that divine power, that divinity itself. So, we have to be physically fit. And that is why, as we meditate more and more, our capacity increases. So we have to remember this statement. My child, the only question is of physical well-being, and it is due to this the process is delayed. Otherwise, it is a matter of a second to develop spiritually in its real form. That's why Babaji says it gives him, in a second, he can put one person up to the central region, but they have to remain there. When they don't have the capacity to remain there, they fall. You have requested a salary of 6 sittings per day. God willing, you will develop such a condition that you feel as if you are receiving constant sittings. Then it may happen that you start to serve the one I serve. That is why I keep reiterating this fact that wherever possible, when the transmission is being given, we should meditate. It is my wish. A lot of times people think, oh, I got one sitting, I'm fine. I got attended one satsang, I'm fine. Oh, I attended Daji sitting, I'm fine. The more we are able to digest this transmission that's coming to us. Look at this man asking for 6 sittings. It is my wish that the entire world becomes better than me, and I pray that if this wish is not granted, I am ready to receive all the punishment for it. That means Babuji continues to work through the living masters. In this letter, I have written about Vairagya or renunciation and the state of merger, and shown what Ishwara darshan is. That means having the vision of ultimate divinity. The condition of Ishwara darshan and its joy is like salt with saltiness, without saltiness. He's describing the condition of divinity as it's a kind of joy salt without saltiness, and ultimately the state prevails. People work hard life after life for this. If it were to be given to them in the very beginning, they would be ready to run away and nobody would turn to divinity. It's an article that we need to read and reread to really understand, because the chapter is called The Real Condition. We are blessed that we got to read that today. Let us all meditate now.